You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
I want to talk about news, don't want the drama. From no pretentious media Madonna. I found me a great ganja mama. Cannabis and coffee with Tamarijuana.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Cannabis and Coffee with me, Tamarijuana. Well, it's Monday. We all know what Monday means. Ugh. It's rainy and crappy here, but my daffodils are blooming, which is meaning that spring has sprouted. And I took some pictures of the, strawberries popping their heads up, and of course, all the weeds. Sometimes we have good weeds that pop up, right? And that's the thing that we like to talk about on this show is, well, the benefits of medical cannabis and cannabis in general therapeutically can help everybody. So this morning I'm going to bring on a return guest. They're almost like they feel like they're family because I've known them for so many years. Miss Haley's birthday is coming up, and she was 15 when I met her, and she's going to be 32. And like I said, when the fuck did that happen? But again, she's the same age as my older kids too. But again, we have like the fact that she was in a position when she was 15 that her poor mom didn't think she'd even make it to 18, 20, never mind where she is now. And thanks to her mom and all the research and all the pushing that she has done over the last 20 years to keep Haley's health intact, to keep her breathing, and to keep her that we can see the benefits of all this, you have to thank Cheryl Rose for all those years of dedication and loyalty to her daughter. And we all love our kids, but this one's over the top. Love. I mean, dedication to the point she's going to university, right? Like she didn't have enough on her plate. But anyways, I'm going to let them tell you the rest of the story because we have both of them here with us this morning. So we're going to welcome Cheryl and Haley Rose. Good morning, ladies.
Hey, hi. How are you doing? We're glad to be here.
Welcome to, and I'm glad you are here. And so glad that you're here. And like I was saying before, like 32, like when the fuck did that happen? Never mind the things and the progress that has been made in the last 2 years, right?
Amazing. Like, so monumental. Like, I thought we've made some major milestones over the years. But this is like something I've never seen, and it's just mind-blowing.
We know at one point too, like when she was going through puberty and stuff, hormones had a lot to do with, and that happens to a lot of girls, boys that have disabilities with epilepsy and these different ailments, diseases, whatever you want to call them. That hormone levels and hormone balances really make a difference. So
huge.
Puberty was kind of hellish, no?
Oh yeah. Like her natural body wants to kill her, right? Like, and that I laugh about it, but it absolutely was critical. Hospital teams of doctors trying to prevent her hormones from keeping her in status and ending everything for us. But we have lucked out. It happens to everybody, like just about near. You might not notice it in some people, but it really does impact a lot of different things. I mean, we see puberty, whether or not you have an ailment or not, right, is very difficult on everyone. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, puberty is something that's, and I don't think we are prepared for it. I don't think that we're taught enough. I don't think our parents, even though we went through it ourselves, but I mean, as generation, like, let's face it, like, we're in 2025 now, like, my mom's generation, we're Gen Xers, like, we were told very little, like, mom didn't set us down. Now, thankfully, because of the different generations that move forward and education systems and curriculum and stuff, our kids are actually learning about their bodies and how they work and why they work. And because we're a little more, I guess the world is woke, or whatever you want to call it, open-minded, I call it, but a little, we're allowing people to actually be who they are. And that's also bringing forth research and stuff that we didn't have before. Oh my God, the dogs are outside. You guys start telling the story.
Well, so the last 2 years have been pretty incredible. With Haley being on her ketogenic diet that she started in 2018, because her seizures had, being LGS and being a lifelong, progressive condition that is medication resistant. Eventually we ran into issues where there was subclinical activity that was not able to be detected other than by an EEG, which causes huge issues because you have no idea that there's actually activity going. We started the ketogenic diet. It was helping. The difficulties we started encountering were issues with hypoglycemia because we needed the ketones to be in a certain range, and blood sugar stability was an issue. Also by 2019, she was having metabolic issues. So she was having malabsorption, severe malabsorption. She was eating 2,400 calories a day and 87 pounds. Up to, that it was, everything was just going through. Nothing was sticking. She was losing. It was really a rough time at that point.
Yeah, I remember you had said you'd sent me a text message one time, and you were pretty concerned because she was down to 80 pounds.
Yeah,
it was lethargic. You're I don't know what's going on here. I don't know. You were.
It was. Nobody knew.
It was actually 87.
Was 87. Yeah, and for her, considering what we were giving her, there was no reason, that should not have been happening. And so it was causing a lot of issues. Glucose was bottoming out. And when I say bottoming out, I mean less than 60, or also known as 3.3 mmol. It was going lower than, which is extremely dangerous.
Right.
She was
let's let our audience know, Haley's not diabetic.
No, she's not diabetic. This actually can happen.
Explain to everybody what it is, what it's called, and what you've learned about it. Because that's the thing we really talk about is the actual ailment, the actual epilepsy, because it started as childhood, right?
Yes, Lennox-Gastaut syndrome, and it is a rare, lifelong deteriorating form, medication resistance. So you're constantly trying to stay ahead of a beast that is just relentless, right? So,
and how many people in Canada contract something like this? How many people in Canada contract something like this? Is it rare? How many?
Okay, so Drave rare, right? So little Charlotte. Today is Charlotte. Charlotte's day today. Charlotte's what?
Yeah.
It actually is. It's her day today. She passed. In Colorado, they actually have a day for her. Charlotte. Hey, pardon?
I don't remember her last name now, but
I don't want to say it and butcher it. Fiki or
Fiki? It was Fiki.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Charlotte Fiki. Yeah.
Yeah, and so thoughts are with her and her family and everyone that little girl absolutely made a life changing. The world really needed her.
Well, and that's the thing, we're all brought here for a reason, I think, sometimes at some point. And unfortunately, it wasn't a long life, but it was a gift that was given.
Yes, for everyone.
To open the doors for other children, like Haley. Maya, Liam.
Well, Haley was so much older than them that people went, oh, wow, that's cool. But Charlotte had that impact because they went, oh, my God, this is a young child, a very young child.
Yeah.
And that made people open their eyes, and we needed that so bad. I
don't think that their eyes are open enough yet, though. No, to be honest, I think that there's still way more work to be done for kids.
There is. There is.
The legalities around it and the stigma around it, because even with Sophia, Sophie out in Nova Scotia too. Like, I mean, thankfully
Yep.
they've got an LP that are working with them and a doctor that's working with them. But how many kids out there, like especially like 15, like let's talk teenage years, when they say it's, you know, against the growth of their brain and all these things, and to keep it away from children and stuff. But is it beneficial or is it non-beneficial? Like, where are we drawing the line here? Like, are we saying it's beneficial only for kids with epilepsy, but not beneficial for all kids? Like, that's what I mean. Like where are we doing that with even like with anybody? Like, where is the line drawn? As far as I'm concerned, it's beneficial for everybody. There should be no
We
age.
have an ECS system, right?
Yeah,
And
and
a cannabis system, right? So there is a degree where, yeah, we actually are deficient in where that line crosses from being deficient to being oversaturated. I don't know where that, like that. I don't know, but
well, yeah, like, I mean, you know, like,
I mean,
and that's I think the fear with it is because there's no dosing, right? But apparently there is going to be some research being done, CBD research for dosing being done.
excellent.
We had something come on the show last week, and it's a Canadian study.
Really awesome.
It's a peer reviewed study, I believe, and it's like kind of trying to like figure out how much CBD works sufficiently or not, right? For dosing.
Nice.
Because I mean, again, here we're sitting at the 10 milligram, but 10 milligrams of what? THC, CBH, CBD, like what do you know? And I'm still here with this, like, why are we ripping it apart so much? Like,
I know. That's
like the full spectrum, because in reality, I'm sorry, but a little bit of high ain't gonna kill you. And like, how much, like, anyways.
And
You've been doing some other research with some plants we talked about.
I have, and I actually want to bring up something on the research I've been doing, but also to what you're saying. So with Haley now, she consumes her Haley's Comet as rescue meds, and only as rescue meds. Her raw cannabis, her juice, the microgreen aspect is all raw and all acidic. So there's nothing, and it's all THCA. That is what she is consuming. So she used to consume. Yeah. Oh, she wants to tell you something.
I just got taken off a med that I've been taking for how long?
10 years.
For 10 years.
Oxazepam, benzodiazepine. 10 years later, she is off.
I don't even know how to describe how she just, like, she's so different.
And then I would be coming off another drug soon, and
that one's 17 years. Diazepam, and that it might be delayed about a month because we have some traveling to do. We may have some traveling coming up.
I remember a time when you couldn't travel.
I know.
I saw the trip to Kamloops. Should have come a little farther. East out, not that much. Except my house is falling apart, and I couldn't invite anybody in because I don't even have a couch to sit on. But again, like I said, like, I'm just so, like, no, I'm not trying to be like disrespectful, Haley, but oh my God, it just makes me so happy that, like, it's like your brain's rebuilt itself. Like, it's like a little block, like the Minecraft, when you see the Minecraft.
Yeah, and I used to not be able to watch fire trucks or moving.
Or hear tin on a roof, or rain on a tin roof.
Sorry, not fire trucks. Fireworks and moving lights, like, the moving lights that you get in clubs or at your prom. That kind of moving lights doesn't bother me anymore, and neither does fireworks. And how long did it take until fireworks?
You were
28.
By the time you were 15, you couldn't do fireworks because they did make her seize by the time.
Right, but I mean, she was 28 before she could really start watching them again, too, was it?
Just in the last year, it was only about a year or so ago that she started, after starting the raw juice.
Right.
And what about moving lights, like at parties?
Same. All of that was like
I said, like, how you see, like, it's almost like the blocks in her brain are being like Minecraft. It's like whatever is in that THC is stimulating the blocks to put.
It's not just that, though, Tamara. This is the crazy thing about it. Okay, so what I'm finding was in her. Okay, so we know there is papers. I actually have. I'll give you a glimpse of this. So this here is a 7-page summary I did.
I don't
There
think
I have
she's seen it.
well it's just
Here.
anyway, it's okay.
It's okay. We know we got paperwork. That's yeah. We
But,
know.
and this summary has 30 references in it for 5 to 6 categories that connects and brings forth information that because this is what the research was on with Haley and what we were doing, what that connects how very likely that the raw cannabis is actually working with the ketogenic diet and in a symbiotic sort of thing within the body in order because THCA, and then we're looking at the different fats and it works well with fats, with the ketogenic diet, also with the way the pathways are in the brain.
Another thing that I can do now, I can, I don't need to usually go in a wheelchair in taxis.
Yeah, we don't do the wheelchair in the taxi.
I just use 2 pads, one for the feet and one for
it's your back and your butt.
Yes, and
sometimes
use a pad for the feet for vibration, but not all the time. The only time I need a wheelchair is going on a bus or traveling.
Yeah, like the long distance, because there's other factors that you can't necessarily take into account for it, and it's more of a to mitigate any.
It's more security than anything, no? Because in reality, like, is she really using it, or is it just there in case of, right? More
the wheel. So, okay. So when we took the bus, I could have used the cushions, put her in the chair. She would have been fine, like in the regular seat, and that would have been fine. But we utilized the wheelchair because if there was any other factor that I might not, it gave me more control over the situation, right? Getting her on and off the bus because there's that lift and any anti-vibration. But realistically, if we'd been driving, I wouldn't have even. I would have put the wheelchair in the trunk.
Were you able to get a car?
Not yet. Not yet. I'm not going to get a wheelchair car. I'm going to get a regular car and throw the wheelchair in the trunk.
Right. So you got a driver's license now, though, right?
I need to get a driver's license.
Yeah. Well, you get on that because we can still do maybe we should do another
and get somewhere. We're going to be doing traveling. Like no matter what, got things to do now.
Before you can get a car, right?
Yeah.
Like, get on it.
Much easier to get. All the different places, and
right?
She had so much fun. She was making all sorts of friends up at the university. Talking
and that's the thing, like, I mean, the fact that you can actually go out and be social, like, and actually meet people and meet friends and actually have some quality of life. And isn't that like what life's all about? Like I said to you, so like I went to the physiotherapist this morning expecting to be, thrown up on a table and moved around and, got given some x-rays and told, see you later. And I sat there for 40 minutes being told that I need to take some time for myself. And was given a list of stuff, and here's a course you need to take, and until we get you figured out with your chronic, with your some time for you because you do too much. Like basically, my doctor and now her telling me I shouldn't be working, and then talk to me about PWD. I said I'm not eligible for PWD. Like, what can you get? Like, so because you need money, but you shouldn't be working. And I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing with my life then?
Yeah.
Like, what do you expect? She goes, something that you enjoy that's not causing you this much pain. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Like, I had to put my cane out last week for the first time in 3 years. Like, it's, whatever, right? But we're patients. And of course, we know that, we're living with chronic deterioration. Like, I know my body's going to break down. I know that these things are going to happen, right? Exactly. But I mean, when I see what's happening with Haley and the reconnection and the neurological benefits and the behavioral difference and everything, so it's watching her go from being a toddler to being 20, 30.
Yeah, like I noticed a lot of things. Like even her ability to be more independent.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Taking care, more independence and just
another thing that's changed is that I used to be only be able to have baths because of running water, and now I can have showers. I just need earplugs. That's it.
You know what? I'll tell you something. 3 years ago, you wouldn't have been sitting here having this conversation with us like you are. Like you were not. You were to the point. Like, and I'm not trying to like I said, you were forgetting your Disney songs when you because you were losing your memory. we weren't having a conversation like this, honey. Like having a conversation like this, like my heart is like, what the heck? This is so amazing.
Just so good.
You're just like, it's like you're just somebody different, somebody I have to get to know different because you're not the same person. You are the same person, but you've got
her voice is coming back, man.
Yeah, like
your voice going.
And you're telling us your mom don't need to talk to you for you.
No.
And you just tell her, shut up, mom, I can do this myself. I'm good now.
Oh yeah.
Right? And that's what, like I can talk for myself. I don't need to tell myself, I can tell it myself. And we said you were going to be the loudest, biggest, beautifulest cannabis warrior ever. When we told you that. And you are. You're our inspiration. You're the cannabis warrior that we all inspire to be. Somebody that just stands there and uses their voice, and you're doing that right now. And I'm so happy that you can. You're way younger than us, so you better giddy up and get some signs made because I think there's a protest coming up soon.
Yep.
April 7th, I think. Are you guys going? Or is it April 7th? They're going to the city hall.
That would be today, then.
Is it April 7th? I don't know. Yeah, I think there's a protest at City Hall.
Is there today? Really? Oh no, I'm so out of touch.
I think it was for CSP because they're trying to get the city of Vancouver to allow Langley CSP to do a pilot project with the substitution program.
Oh, that would be excellent.
I don't know where my phone is. Maybe it's not today, but 420 is coming up though too, right?
Yes,
I don't know what's going on in Vancouver because I know some of my friends. Anyways, we want to talk about that. They're going to Mexico and doing 420 down there. Good for you.
Yeah, hey.
I'm also able. My grandparents paid for me to go to art class.
Yes.
I saw your art.
So she's
absolutely beautiful. In fact, I think I can bring some of that up. Just give me 2 seconds and I'm gonna go look. Because I think your mom sent me some pictures, or there's some pictures somewhere, and I can actually share them.
I think I just put some the other day online.
Yep, I'm looking right now. There they are.
I'm hoping that someday I'll get really better, more stable, so I can sing at Canadian Idol.
It's just like, I'm still doing that, right? Remember, you're
I absolutely think you should. Okay, so we're going to bring this up, add it to the stage. So these are Haley's latest artwork that she's been working on for her paper dolls. Her mom had those posted. So we can show everybody what you've been up to. And let's see what else we got here. I think there's some other pictures here. There you are. There's your mom.
That one's me.
Yeah.
And I love this one.
There
she's like, yeah.
There you are at the university. Oh, and the competitor. Oh, there's another picture of you standing in the rain.
Yep.
So let's talk about this here. Let's talk about this competition. Oh, it's already over.
So I went, and it was my first time presenting, and I went there. Oh my gosh, I got to meet some incredible young researchers that I am just very thrilled to have gotten to meet. It was great. I got to meet. So I found my supervisor that I needed, my principal investigator for my research.
Nice.
So for the upcoming, I did there's a slide. If you go to I think it's the last one I did, the newest picture, that is of her. Yeah, that one. So this is what I spoke about at the university, and what I will be speaking about many more times. And it has to do with what the juice and the microgreens, and what it is that, so as you can see, like looking at that, you can see that there's a massive decrease that happened in the hypoglycemic events. Now, with this ketogenic diet, there can be complications. So you're a family that's desperate, you want to try a natural way, the drugs aren't working, or maybe you haven't tried the drugs yet and you want to try this way. So there are patients that it can be within a couple of months, or it could be later on in their therapy where they may run into an issue where their ketones are going through the roof and their glucose is bottoming out, as you see in these pictures. So for 2 summers prior to this, so in 2021, 2022, Haley was hospitalized both those years. 2020, we started this path because I wanted to make sure that 2023 we didn't end up back in there, because she was just decreasing. Her body's ability to stay stable was decreasing, and even when I dropped out the ratio, so it was more of a normal type meal that somebody not on a special diet would take, she was still having issues, and it was bad. Like, and then when it would start to regulate, because now I've dropped it way down and we've got no ratio, well, her glucose would start to stabilize and that, and she'd have no ketones, and we'd start off with major seizures. And then also, if your glucose is too low, you can have seizures due to hypoglycemia.
Like it
So-
used to go to as low as 1.9.
Yeah, it did. It had, and we were in the hospital when that happened. Yeah. So it can be fatal, and through giving her these microgreens. Now, people go, "Oh, is it just the cannabinoids?" No, I don't believe it is. Is it just the plant? No, it's definitely not. There's something very unique about the raw cannabis plant that you're not necessarily seeing in just an extract. And I have not been able to find enough data or enough papers or knowledge out there that can lead me to say, yes, you know what, maybe it's more this, or maybe it's more this. I haven't found anything that could, and it really seems to work together. So fiber is really important for most people. They like to have throughout your body, right? With seizures, with epilepsy, it is extremely important. Fiber can actually help if you have seizures, so that you have less seizures. And there's a whole thing on how that would actually works and that. But one aspect of it is, if you're constipated, you are going to trigger more seizures, right? So making sure that your body's got a good gut brain axis happening, the microbes are all, everybody's happy, right? Is really key and important. And there are papers that I mentioned in my review and in my paper that is going for publishing, that talk about how THCA, not only can it help seizures, it can also, there are other cannabinoids that actually work on the CB1 and CB2 receptors that will help metabolically, like, so help with the metabolism and stuff. And they actually mentioned one on Crohn's. And my thoughts on that was, I know people who have Crohn's, and I don't necessarily think that things like, if I was going to do a juice or something, I would totally not, I wouldn't use like the leaf, because I think that would be so freaking hard on your body. Because remember, we talked before about
green
issues.
vegetables, right? And
Yeah.
that seems to be like a thing for me. Like, I'm not saying, then I've got lymphatic colitis. Al too, I think when he talks very little about eating a lot of vegetable greens, because it hurts. It kills, like, and then, like I said,
Yeah.
so anything that, like, even avocados, like I used to eat avocado sandwiches, like I can't eat them anymore. I get nauseated, and never mind. But see, I've got a different issue. Like, a lot of people get plugged where I never plugged, right? Like, it's like, it's, and even like I said, even when I'm taking, like, say for example, I've got a flare and I'm taking hydromorphine,
Yes.
it will a bit, but it's not to the extent of somebody else where they could never go. It just, like, you know what I mean? But I live with chronic diarrhea, right?
Plugged up, constipated.
Yeah, like codeine or an opioid will cause constipation, right? So because I've got rheumatoid arthritis, I've got the ability to, I have those, right, opioids. Not that I could take them on a very rare basis.
Do you ever drink like vegetable juices and stuff?
I like V8, but I can't do tomatoes much. Like, Nate Shane's with rheumatoid arthritis, right? Like tomatoes and stuff, they say to
What
stay
about like celery juice or something like that?
My daughter bangs on about celery juice, says good and we should be doing it. And I've been eating more celery because I've been eating more Asian foods, right? I'm finding that eating more Asian food seems to agree with us, but we also went and got all that beef. So I've been eating more carnivorous than I was before, which I was told was better for me anyways, because it slows the digestion down. As much as people say red meat's bad for you, for me, on the other hand of it, it's easier for me to slow my digestion down so I get some absorption from that red meat protein than anything else. right? I mean, a scoop of peanut butter for me is probably one of the best things that I do for myself every day, just so because even like the insurance stuff, like like the chalk when they do a castoric, upper whatever.
Yeah.
They left me sitting in like for like 20 minutes, and I was already like, it was coming out the other end before they could actually do the test.
Yeah, and you're like, this is not
Like,
helpful
I
for
can't do
anybody.
something, like I've already gone to the bathroom, like it's already out of me. Like you guys you waited too long. And they're like, what? And I told you, if I take anything in orally, it's going to be out of me in 20 minutes. It don't matter if it's liquid or if it's fucking solid. And they're
That
like,
is so hard, man.
well, even now, like I go to work and I'm so dehydrated because I can't drink anything, because then I'm like peeing to every 10 minutes. Like every time everything goes in, it's out. Right.
Yeah.
So I drink very little until after I get to work, before I go to work. Right. I don't eat anything before I go to work, because if I do, even when I eat, say I grab something and I eat at 6, before I have to leave work, I'm running to the bathroom and I'm the only person there. And I sometimes just can't. So I don't eat. So and that's another thing we were talking about, like the physiotherapist, is my eating schedules and how I eat and stuff, right? And I don't. And you're right, we have to take a break for about 3 minutes because it's commercial time. We got to thank our sponsors. I'd also like to shout out to Al again, and as well, we are looking for new sponsors because one of our sponsors has left. So we are looking for a new sponsorship. So if anybody's interested in sponsoring the show to keep us going, you can get a hold of either Al Rapp or Al Graham. We'll be right back after a quick 3-second or 3-minute commercial break.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
Are you looking to get your medical cannabis grow license? Limestone City Hydroponics can help patients through the process of obtaining their license to grow medical cannabis. What's that? You don't have a doctor? If you meet the medical criteria, Limestone City Hydroponics has a nurse practitioner who can assess and provide medical cannabis prescriptions. What are you waiting for? Contact Limestone City Hydroponics at limestonecityhydroponics.ca or call them at 613-548-0420.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Rerolled Saturdays. Check it out. Nothing but non-stop cannabis and psychedelic programming. Find it at 420pace.ca.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
I did the opposite of what I was doing. Oh my God, what's going on in Abbotsford?
What?
I just got this thing on my page that's showing that there's some something going on. There's something at the schools in Abbotsford.
Something where?
You don't want to hear it. So this fucking bitch, I'm going to put it right out there, and I'm going to call her this, that runs the CSP in Surrey is a fucking racist.
Oh, well, that's nice. Great.
Oh, like what took her kids out of school because it was Eid on Friday.
Because what?
Because it was Eid. You know? Anybody from any Muslim or any yeah. And she runs Surrey. Anyway, so this is posted on her page right now. I'm from Abbotsford, but I am of Indian origin. Tomorrow, the 7th of April, I'm going to commit one of the most violent attacks in the history of Abbotsford. I'll be targeting each and every school that is listed in this email. I'll be emailed. I'm armed with an AR-15. I got it snuck into the U.S. And this is a report regarding online threat. Dear families, we are aware of the serious online threat that is made against schools in our district. We take such a threat as utmost seriousness and immediately involve the Abbotsford Police Department. This was posted 5 hours ago.
That's harsh.
That is very harsh.
But she's trying to make a point that because the person said he was from an Indian descent.
Still, it's a bit harsh.
That's wow. Okay.
Anyways, I don't know if there's any truth to it. Asia said that she kept her kids home. So maybe
Well, I don't like the idea of any threat of it. We've seen.
No. Like, I don't care what the threat is, right? I don't care what I don't care. Well, look at that guy that locked himself in Parliament Hill, in the east wing of Parliament Hill yesterday. 35-year-old. There's now a publication ban. But he's a 35-year-old convoy supporter. So you can guarantee he's a whitey. So, like, and this is fucking bullshit. Like, I can't believe any of this is going on. Anyways. Yeah, First Nations leader called for Conservatives to drop candidate Aaron Gunn because he's making fucking comments against First Nations. Like, yeah, today's the day. Please come out and show support for an hour downtown City Hall, Langley.
Holy crap.
2:45 to 3:45. So it's downtown Langley on Douglas at 2:45 p.m. this afternoon is when the protest is. Anyway.
Can you send me? I'm gonna check that out when we're out of here.
Hang on a second.
Yeah, what's going on? Yeah.
I'm gonna send you a couple things.
Thank you.
I'll just send them to your text. But yeah, like,
okay.
Because there's some crazy shit going on right now as we're sitting here talking about.
Listen, all I've been doing for the last 2 years, like I had to do upgrading in school and because I got into the bachelor's program, and then I've been doing upgrading, and then my years of stuff. What?
Like I had my head buried.
Haley's directing me. Apparently, I'm not sitting enough in the camera. There we go. She's like, "Mom, you want to move closer?"
Like, yeah, I just, like I said, I'm having a, like, it's just so crazy out there.
So I've just been like, my whole life's been consumed with working on my education to get these. We did that one, and now I've got another one that I'm preparing for. That is like the next phase of what I want to work on with raw cannabis microgreens. But
you're going,
you're doing any of that.
Like, you know, like, yeah, like I just can't even.
I missed everything because I'm just like, you know. Maybe I better.
Anyways, back to cannabis. I guess we burying our head, and that's a little better. Maybe it's just like.
I've been reading schooling.
I don't watch a lot of the Canadian shit because they always put that fucking mealy mouth piece of shit on there, and I can't stand looking at them. So I don't watch Canadian news much. I watch Al Jazeera, but that's not very good either because it's endless bombings and babies dead. It's just so. I might, like I said, I need to find a different place to be.
Yeah.
Because I'm not losing my mind, but like I said, this world's going crazy. And I've lost my ambition with cannabis to the point that, well, not so much. The substitution program kind of brought me back to my roots, right? Because everything was going so crazy. and everything was like I just had to like refocus. So that's what the cannabis substitution program has done for me, right? It's helped me refocus back to my roots, back to doing back to the basics, right? Back to the plant, to working with baking and making and processing and doing something that I love, right? So that's been helpful. But then winter fucking came and it got to be like minus 50 and everybody was in warming shelters and got shuffled around. So we kind of got sidetracked and I haven't been out to the park since. Like I've got off-site patients I'm still dealing with, right? Like 60 of them and then there's 60 people up there. But again, they are transient, they move back and forth. So if I see them, I've always got a care package with me, like always, and I never come home with any.
So I helped my mom make ice cream, keto ice cream.
What is that, Haley?
Haley eats ice cream almost every day.
I helped my mom make keto ice creams, and there's a schedule that we do that learning how to make keto food.
That's good.
She's doing better. That
there's no disputing that. Like, look.
Oh yeah, it's
like look at her talking, doing whatever, like able to go out trips. Like everything's just like
totally engaging in what's going on
and comprehending what we're talking about.
Exactly.
Right? And be able to there's some sense of humor and sarcasm there too. I can see it.
Yeah, there is.
You can see like some sarcasm in her like her little eyes are like, yeah. There's a comedian in there, isn't there, Haley?
Yeah, she likes to. She's saying that there's a comedian inside you.
I think you're a bit of a comedian too, right? Because I like making people laugh too, right? So it makes people laugh. I like to laugh too. So
I have more energy, and if I keep, I just need to exercise for a bit because I'm better enough that I feel like climbing up monkey bars, ladders, swinging, climbing ropes, those kind of stuff that are at playgrounds.
Like, we're gonna go to Adventure Park.
Well, stuff that she's missed out on. So it's like
exactly
it's like I said, it's like Minecraft. And her brain's gone back together, and it's like slowly like picking through the and growing.
It's not even just her mind though, Tamara. Her body is now metabolizing food. So she came off Creon, which she's been on since 2019. It's a pancreatic enzyme for commonly used for cystic fibrosis to help with malabsorption. She's completely off that. Only the raw cannabis.
And maybe it's this year or next year. Me and my mom are going camping, and I haven't been camping since how long?
Oh, 2018.
Okay, well, you know what? I live in the best camping area in the whole world.
Oh yeah, we have to go up and see with Tamara. Since we're mobile now, right?
Because like seriously, like I live in the East Kootenays, and like we have the best mountains and the best camping ever.
Oh yeah. Listen, this one here was almost in tears and giggling to herself on the bus. And I'm like, what are you laughing at? She's like, it's so pretty.
Oh yeah. Isn't that nice?
Like, the mountains, the waterfalls on the mountains, all the trees, all the bushes, everything.
And now that you can walk a little bit, there's about a 2-kilometer hike, but I could take you to some natural hot spots.
That's why we're doing the exercising, building up strength, working on gait, so that we can go when we go camping, we can go on those trails and things like that, right?
I mean, it's a beautiful hike in. It is a beautiful hike. We just have to be careful and bring a bear bell because there's bears.
Bears, of course.
And cougars and all kinds of critters. But again, like I said, you can see critters in my backyard.
Yeah.
I just go look at my to get just an example, like my cover photo on my Facebook. That mountain I can see from my.
That's a beautiful. I saw that this morning. I was like, man, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's Fisher Peak, right? And that's like right there, like right. That's where I live. Like that's what I mean. Like this is the best.
Just gorgeous.
And like I said, Fernie's an hour away too. Kimberly's only 35 minutes from me. Creston's only an hour and a half west. Moyer Lake is one of the most beautiful lakes in British Columbia, right? I mean, sure, you got Kelowna and you can go to the Okanagan Lake, but it's not mountains. It's like, it's beautiful. It's desert, sure, if you want to, do the.
But there's so much more. Like,
Camera, here's your reminder. Vizio. Just let me know you're done.
It's
with
my
the
thing saying
reminder.
I got physio. Alexa, I've already done it. It keeps
Emma,
telling me.
here is your reminder.
Alexa, stop. I have to remind myself of these things. Telling me to go to physio.
She's laughing. I can hear her giggling in my ear here.
Yeah.
At your Alexa.
It's because of my attention deficit and my gap. So if I don't remember to do these things, I'll forget. And I got a phone reminder. Never mind, my physiotherapist told me I better get a daytimer and start journaling. Like when I get up, what I eat, when I eat.
But sometimes I forget when to take my pills at 5 or 1.
We got timers.
So I set a timer to let me know, because I do have a watch, but I don't really pay attention to my watch.
You know what? I got myself a Samsung smartwatch too. And it's supposed to be, watching my weight, my where it's sitting right over there behind my computer on the charger. I don't wear it either. And like I said, I've got all these reminders and shit too, but if I don't, I forget. And even with I've changed my meds too, but it depends on what time I get up and what time I work. So I've taken myself back to using Ritalin because it's a 4-hour dosing that I can actually control it. Because the other one was making it so I wasn't sleeping, and I'm still only sleeping 4 hours a day, max.
Yeah, that's not good.
So again, that's between the pain in my hips and my pelvis, and just if I'm flaring or whatever, I'm sleeping 4 hours. And I went to bed 10:30, I was up at 2:30, and then I couldn't go back to sleep. And it's like I'm laying there, my brain keeps moving, I can't go back to sleep. So I'm living on 4 hours of sleep a day, and that's not good for anybody either, right?
No, that's not. That's not.
So, the doctor recommended physio for the osteoarthritis that they found in my hips and my pelvis. Yep. But like I said, it was there was no exercising. And it was I'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll figure out something then. But
another thing that changed is that I used to take this burning drug how many times?
So it's the midazolam. So it was 6 to 12 doses of rescue drugs a month. And now
I had
0
to 3, but I had to take one today as well.
So catamenial time is when we'll see it, and it's if there's any clusters. So she had 3 seizures, which just means we actually I think we lowered her ketones a little bit too much last night, which actually triggered there to be 3 rather than 1.
So I had to never be a time,
but not all the time in catamedial.
Yeah,
just here and there, very non-often that I need that burning drug. So mostly I just need just to wake up, have some cannabis smoothie, and then I'd be fine.
Yeah, so she
Do you think there'll ever be a time that she doesn't seize, or is this going to be something that's going to be ever?
It's the classification of the condition is a lifelong deteriorating seizures, medication resistant, never a good prognosis.
Okay, right. So there's never going to be a time that. But I mean,
I have no idea.
Right? Exactly. That's where I'm kind of going with this. Do you think with the progressive, what are the difference between? How many times
the seizures change over time too, right?
And they were more frequent, and they were harsher, they were harder, more frequent. Yeah. Now are you finding less, more
so seizures now really we've got them pretty clockwork. We can actually track the ketones and the glucose and see when she goes into a catamenial phase, which is one of the 3 phases throughout the month for women, right? And it could be anyone depending on who you are. You could have any one of the 3 phases could be your trigger for seizures if you had catamenial seizures. So for her, she still has issues with that. However, that rescue drug, midazolam, she's had 4 doses since January 17th. It would have been after January 17th because it was picked up on January 17th. And we're April 7th. So that's a massive difference from 6 to 12 a month, right?
Right. So there's decreasing on everything.
Everything. And the other, so That's one benzo completely gone. A pancreatic enzyme she was on for many years, since 2019, gone. Okay, so yeah, 2018 or 19 Creon gone. 2008, 2007, 2008. No, wait, sorry, I apologize. 2015, oxazepam gone.
And this is
next
before
up is
the sprouts,
diazepam, which is 2007, 2008 will be gone. That's our next one that will be.
and this is before the sprouts. This is
Pardon?
all before, and this is all before the raw juice and the sprouts, right?
This is all since that, yeah.
Yeah.
And only since that, everything else was downhill, and we didn't know what was going on. We had over a listserv of over 400 specialists, ketogenic diet and epilepsy specialists, go over 2 years in a row, and endocrinology team, you name it, man. And no one had anything better than just keep doing what you're doing, lower it, and try to keep balancing it out. The thing is, the typical treatments, this is the thing, the typical treatments did not work. No. So adding a cornstarch, adding inulin, adding sugar, adding anything that you would normally add to normalize your, to end a hypoglycemic event or to normalize it would be, nothing was working. Nothing worked. And when it did start to work, we lost the ketones. Right. The raw cannabis juice is creating a balance and a homeostasis within her body that everything's jiving now. Everything, we've got absorption is rocking. We've got increased energy. We've got decrease of medications. We've got continued seizure control. And you also have to remember, it was only a few days ago, like 4 days ago, 5 days ago, that she stopped the last dose of oxazepam. So having a,
it was actually 3 days
ago. Was it 3 days ago? Okay, so there you go. So it really, she's not having a massive kickback of an influx of seizures or anything like that. She's actually, it takes time, obviously, but she's progressing positively, and she's still at a quarter of her dosage.
Right. So let's explain again, because we're going to have to wrap up here.
Yeah.
Explain to everybody what you're doing. So juicing, are you juicing sprouts? Or are you juicing full plant?
Okay, so her original, when we ran the test and the study, it was with raw cannabis juice from the leaf. Now, I do not advocate for people to just run out and start juicing their leaves. And the only reason why I don't advocate for that is because if you could be thinking that you're growing organically and you are using a foliar spray or something like what happened with us. And thank God for Matt from Matt's Green Space. He's on YouTube. I want to make a shout out to him, because some information he gave me early on actually could have prevented a lot of potential problems, because of buildup of things that you may not realize, even though it's organic, you're actually getting. Because when we consume cannabis, we usually have that nice flush. You're not having a flush to flush that out. So this is why I like microgreens better, because you don't have to add anything in. They're fresher. They're just straight from the ground. You haven't added in that extra feed. They're still living off of what all that nutrients that is in the actual seed at that point.
Plus, you get more than you do out of it than you do of the cannabis.
And the taste is better with microgreens, honestly.
And it gets you more hungry.
You're juicing the microgreens, or you're just using the microgreens on salad?
So we did some of the microgreens. What is happening? Okay, so the laws, our regulations in Canada are wacko. So her microgreens do test out as qualifying as hemp because of the amount of THC per gram. Now, the serving is larger than a gram, okay? But, so she would consume that. However, under guidelines, so you can't have as many plants as you can't as a regular under the legal, and most would not have anywhere close. Like we don't have anywhere close, and hers is 250 plants. But 250 microgreens is nothing. It's nothing, right? So and even with the hemp licensing, there comes a problem. They go, yes, 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 and then they go, no. And it's a matter of an issue within the regulations. And that is something that part of my research is going to address, is these pieces of the regulations that actually they needed tweaks and adjustments in order to meet the changing field of cannabis and medical cannabis and cannabis just in general. And so I'm working on cannabis as a functional food now, cannabis microgreens specifically. That is the next phase of that I get to get trained on some cool machines. So.
Right. And that's great because exactly like we want to have cannabis microgreens in little containers besides the bean
in the store, in the grocery store,
like beside the bean sprouts, like, you know, like beside the alfalfa sprouts that you put on your sandwiches, like, you know, like,
and that's exactly how it should be, right?
Microgreens are microgreens. Like, bottom line, you can't smoke them. You're not going to smoke them. You're not going to like this.
No, it's not.
I noticed that microgreens fill you up more than a cannabis
juice. Yeah, because the juice is like any juice, right? You're not getting.
Yeah, it's not giving you any substance, right? You're not getting the fiber that fills you up.
There's no.
Oh, that's great. And I guess you said you would also mention like a specific time, like the green should only be how many days in grow?
Okay, so the microgreens, you want to harvest them 10 to 14 days after the first set, and I always mess up how to say the word. Coatley, the first leaves. You know, the first little rounded leaves that you get when it grows.
Days after that, yeah.
Yep. I've got to get that word right.
I don't know.
So embarrassing. Anyways,
I said my brain doesn't always work either. All right. And so, well, again, I did, you know, like I said, being, you know, in my age group and, you know, learning a whole new world with medication, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's been a whole different world.
Definitely.
Exhausting. All right. With that, you wanted to give a shout out to Matt of where?
Yeah. Matt Greenspace on YouTube. He teaches growing your own, but within the 4-plant limit. So how to maximize as much as possible. He does a lot of scrog type growing in that. And he is actually really excellent. He is very passion driven to help people. And that's why I want to give a shout out to him. Because of his passion, he helps me to avoid things so that I can pass that same knowledge on.
Right.
So, yeah.
Excellent. Great. Well, thanks again. No, shout out to both of you because thanks for coming on again and keeping us updated.
No problem.
Right. And seeing Haley, you know, it's always good to keep track of what she's doing because who knows what's going to happen in the next 6 months. Right. Oh, yeah. So we'll have to have you back on again in the next few months. Probably, you know, a little after you turn 32. And see where your journeys and travels have taken you, and update us when, you know, like I said, we love hearing all.
We got a busy summer, and looking forward to doing some talks. And
well, maybe then you'll just have to do a live show from here, sitting next to me instead of.
Oh, that would be awesome. Hey, would you like that?
Yeah.
Come camping in the Kootenay. You betcha.
Exactly.
Yeah, we got a big backyard and a fire pit. Like I said, you don't even have to. You can just throw a tent in my backyard,
exactly.
And we can just drive to the lake. And because I mean, you can try booking a place, but you have to probably try now to get into any of these provincial parks anywhere, right? And why would you want to do that when the bathroom here is a lot better?
Yeah, exactly.
I got fine. And then you only have to deal with the chickens, you know, because they're out there clucking, but there's no rooster to wake you up early.
She would love that. You have no idea.
Yeah, we can camp right beside the chicken coop, hang out with the chickens, or you can sleep beside the rabbit. I got a chicken in my living room. Oh yeah, Penny's been living in the dining room all winter because she got picked on by the other big birds.
Oh no!
So I got the rabbit and the chicken in the dining room. Okay, well, you guys stay around after the show. We'll chat a little more after the show and talk more about camping. I'm going to wrap things up. Thanks again for joining me on Cannabis and Coffee with Tamarijuana. I'll be live with Al on Wednesday night for PACE, which is People Advocating Cannabis and Psychedelic Education. That's 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on paceradio.net. You guys have a great week. We'll see you Wednesday. Bye. I gotta find the right buttons.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop.